By becoming aware of our multidimensionality, we find our essential being, and it is from this perspective that it is possible to perceive the connection with all creation. In the various traditions of wisdom has been handed the concept of multidimensionality of our being, each expressed it differently, but essentially is the same message: we are not only a physical, mental, and emotional body, but much more. There is something abstract, divine, infinite, and eternal, which unites us to all creation. In this reflection I will focus on what is transmitted by Jean-Pierre Garnier-Mallet, some developments that emerged from his theory, incorporating compression's own self-reference. From Jean-Pierre Garnier-Mallet has begun to spread the universal theory of splitting time at the service of man. There has been an interesting development while integrating the contributions of Dr. Hammer, which is very enlightening to understand reality in a more comprehensive manner. This development has begun to spread. Ms. Alejandra married and a large number of people were added from its contribution through videos where it spread, for free, their understandings regarding the theories mentioned, calling its development staff Global Convergent Logic. Today there are many people who add their personal contributions, enriching increasingly these new insights that help you remember our source, human and divine at the same time. I will share in this reflection that I perceive resonates and functional, from my personal observations in my daily life, the service of those who find it useful. We inhabit different dimensions simultaneously. For each of us could display the following scheme, which allows us to become aware of the different dimensions of being. The plane 1 is the physical dimension of our being. The plane 2 is the plane of emotions. The plane 3 is the plane of perceptions, mind, thoughts. The plane 4 is the plane of our identity, where beliefs are embedded in our history. Values is that identity that allows us to move in this concrete, physical, mental, and emotional level. There is saved what we receive as a must in such a way. In this plane 4 we are different from each other because we have different personalities, different experiences, and if we just stay on this plane we perceive separated from each other, which is a great illusion. Continue to recognize the other planes of existence. From this plane 4 we believe to be right, because we believe that our perspective is the truth and try to impose it at all costs, causing conflicts. We protect those who think differently from us, because we perceive as threats. In this plane 4, markers identified by Drive Hammer operate blindly from the plane 5, which is who really rules this plane 4. When we become aware of the different planes of existence, our multidimensionality, we can choose ourselves available for that from the essential being, plane 7, we will reaching understandings that mutate our identity frozen, in norms and values received from outside, from other, past, making it more functional to the here and now of my existence. The plane 5 is the plane of the collective unconscious, where we shared legacy programs of our human history, as a human species, and which have been and are those that generate our conflicts. So far, as a human species, we have ruled certain unconscious programs that lucidly desocculted us Dr. Hammer, and that, to see these programs, you may be open to receive new insights that enable new ways of being and being in this particular plane that inhabit, which they are already available in our collective unconscious, a new way to be where life is perceived as a system where everything is interconnected. This plane 5 is from where we act in our daily lives. That's where what then, we see materialized in our daily lives is brewing. The dimension 6 is the field of all possibilities. There are all potentials that can be experienced at lower levels, from an unconscious logic, plane 5 aware that we can now return from observation. The dimension 7 is the seer, the origin, essence, the nada where all comes down to the planes and mentioned arises. In this plane all have the same essence, that is, we all equal. The point zero is the present moment, the here and now where we can perceive these different dimensions. It is the axis that connects us with the Be Original. Recognizing the dimension of our original self, 7, we can choose to look at from this perspective our existence, where we see all levels, and our vision expands and we can understand what we did not understand before our eyes too narrow. From this broad perspective we can see that each particular identity, level 4, is part of a whole, plane 7, from which everything arises, is created. That is, I recognize my own particular identity and what I have come to explore this particular plane, my specific experiences, in connection to something larger, up 7 plane of being original, plane all, none, empty from which everything arises. So with this new awareness, I can sense my particular identity connected to origin, which has come to explore a particular way, and I can choose to serve at all from my own particular identity. And also, I can see every being in the human experience, all equally valuable as the origin is the same, each serving something bigger. Each they are acting according to their state of consciousness. Only from this perspective of being, level 7, it is open to unconditional love possible that much discussed but cost us much experience in everyday life. Summarizing, all these dimensions are in us and simultaneously. When we recognize something within us begins to expand, it opens, our consciousness grows, and perceptions also become broader and more encompassing. Let becoming aware that everything and everyone have the same origin, the same essence from which everything arises. Life becomes lighter and we become more loving, more compassionate, and inclusive, to perceive the connection to all that exists. These are times where we are recalling our origins, perceiving more and more clearly that we are not just this physical, emotional, and mental body, with the wax candle's image, but much more. There is something subtle, inner vacuum bypassing the thread through the candle and lights up and illuminates, abstract something in us that is our real source. We are light. Equals you are all sons of light. 1 THESS 5.5. The union of the material and the subtle turns on the light, generates consciousness, and how to unite the material and the subtle. Uniting all levels of our existence, Flab 1 to 7 and from plane to plane 1 plane 7 through level 4, light the candle is made aware in this material, concrete level, it is our present purpose, as human divine at once. These times where we can learn to experiment with greater awareness what living on this planet Earth, connected with something greater that sustains us all, which promotes new ways of relating between us, more functional, more cooperative, more loving. When we go increasingly learning to connect with our divine essence, we will begin to experience heaven on earth. Starting with our closest links, our family. We are moving towards this new inclusive model to see oneself, to see the other, to see the life interconnection with all creation. More and more people have a clear perception that the divine dwells within us, which is our real essence, our real origin, and, if you want to hear, this sum is uploaded science in a sense of the divine essence. Since the connection with divinity we become co-creators, emptying the mind of past conditioning, metanoia equals new mind, ordering within, placing the new goal consciously live our daily lives, integrating all dimensions of our being, we learn to create our own reality. And how do I know what I have to drop to empty my mind? Listening to my words, for the word cover our universe, the word creates. Then I listened and watched with conscience and honesty, what I say, is it really what I want to accomplish here and now? For that I say in words what I am ordering the universe who believes in my life. So, what we focus to create. In the Word. Now we know that what comes from within to life returns to our center, keeping the flame, giving shine to everything we do, vibrate in love, so we are light and matter at once, stuff that shines, illuminating. So be it for many. Everything was and is for the good, the sum of all our life experiences, how pleasant and difficult, is what generates our current state of consciousness. Everything has driven our growth and development, even what we call errors has been in the service of evolution.